Hello, and it is me, Game Penguin 21, and today, I'm recording a video a little early in the morning, and I didn't want to be as loud, but I just wanted to talk about today's video, and stuff like that. So, concurrently, and one of, if not the biggest things here, is the sheer fact that, well, we're talking about Harman Smith today, and this is one of those videos that's probably just pure bait, but I'm going to take it because I want to discuss a lot about this, because we've talked about Harman before, but what is he on about today? Well, oddly enough, he's not preaching the mad gospel that he spreads about Nintendo. Today, he's actually talking a lot about YouTube stuff, and it's quite the interesting take. So just before we get into the whole backstory bit, let me just get a quick intro of my shilling out of the way. If you like what it is that I do, please feel free to like, comment, rate, and subscribe. I am trying to reach 1K subscribers by the end of the year. That'd be awesome to do so. Maybe we can get monetized in next year, but this year just aim for 1K to be able to even consider that. So please and thank you. So love you all. Next up, we have my music, that being Visions Beyond. Visions Beyond is coming out, I think, next week. So I'm recording this for whatever day this releases. So probably next week is when it's going to come out. So I'm going to release this video this week, blah, 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 blah. So next week, Visions Beyond is coming out. I then also have another single that I'm working on, which will probably come out maybe in a month or two after. So probably towards the beginning of March is when my single will come out, which I'm calling Ode to My Friday Nights, which that has a whole story, but I'm not going to get into it in this. I have video and other stuff, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so what is Harman Smith talking about today? Well, he's basically talking about the current retiring of MatPat and YouTube, as well as the completionist. And if that sounds like a very weird and disgusting combo, you don't know the half of it. Again, this video is probably bait, and I'm probably falling for that bait, but quite honestly, this video is just too good to not talk about because he gets so much information about just general YouTube stuff wrong that it's just so dumb that I cannot comprehend it. Anyway, with this long-ass intro out of the way, let's get started.
Gerard the Completionist is gone, and MatPat of Game Theory is gone. Gaming YouTube is now a better place. Two major sources of cancer in this community are no longer going to be uploading new content. And as a result, their audience is slowly going to fade away, and nobody's really going to be able to fulfill the void that they encompassed, right? Like, it's just not going to be possible. Right? Gerard spent years building up his brand, and now that he's done it already, nobody's going to be able to do the same thing he did with like completing all these games and like giving short reviews of them or whatever. No one's ever going to be able to do what MatPat did. Like they have established the standard, and nobody's ever going to like reach those heights again. Nobody's going to reach those numbers. Nobody's ever going to make that kind of money. No one's going to be able to game the system like they did. Right?
Okay. So, I know that I had to let him just talk his way into a corner there, and if your skin is already crawling, yeah, mine was too when I saw this. I immediately knew, as soon as he said MatPat and the Completionist, and that whole big sentence, that I knew I had to make a video on this. So, yeah, there's a reason why this video exists. So, first of all, number one, those two situations of MatPat retiring and the Completionist retiring are completely different. One is retiring, that being the Completionist, because he got completely and utterly, like, dogpiled on for a good reason, because he basically committed a crime when he was supposed to be one of those squeaky clean tile YouTubers, which means that if you commit any crime or commit anything like that that's bad, guess what? You're basically just gonna be fucked over if anything happens like that. More to the point here, MatPat in this context isn't the cancer. Like, he used MatPat, the Completionist, and cancer in the same sentence. And he's saying that, oh, they're not going to be uploading content anymore. No, MatPat is himself not going to be uploading content, but the actual channels and the cheat community that he's built up around each of the 4 channels that he has created, no, they're still going to be uploading content, because in the video that he said that he's retiring, well, the reason that he's retiring is because it's no longer fulfilling to him, and he doesn't want to spend, like, the main lights and stuff. So he's divvying it up to the editors and the other people who work on the shows to be able to, continue on the show. They're pulling what I would call a Ray WJ, where Ray William Johnson originally ran the show Equals 3 back in the day, but they had to switch over to several different co-hosts and several different side hosts because Ray just didn't want to do it anymore. This is the kind of thing that's happening. This is the next evolution of that. But I think that MatPat's handing off of the torch is going to be slightly different. Anyway. But yeah, I need to continue, otherwise I'm going to be ranting on about this for a while. But just know that they're completely different scenarios. One is quitting because he can't handle the stresses anymore. The other is quitting because he probably should. And what's weird is that the completionist is still uploading content, to my knowledge, which is odd. Anyway.
And as a result of that, YouTube is a better place. No one's going to be able to fill that void, and as a result, we're going to get like a bazillion more React channels. We're going to get like some lame gaming like commentary channels. We're going to get some like fake news channels, right? Like YouTube is going to become a worse and worse place, but people aren't going to watch the content. It's going to be glorious seeing more and more YouTubers fail because the big names that were keeping this platform relevant, people like the Completionist, people like MatPat, the people they were associating with, are fading away.
I mean, you can say that the sky is green. It doesn't make you correct in that context. One of the biggest things that Game Theory has done is they've inspired a new generation of YouTubers and a new generation of people to create videos. In fact, I myself am one of the people who MatPat technically influenced. I said I made this in a short form video, which I might link in the description, but that short form video basically goes into how Game Theory has inspired me and has been a big part of my early childhood. I watched a lot of his videos whenever they came out, and they were really fun to do. He inspired so many people and has left a lasting legacy on this. Same with the Completionist, although, again, with the Completionist, his thing is more retired and stuff. Because, well, not retired, but it's all burned to the ground because of him committing this act that he did. In any case, in any way, shape, or form, MatPat himself was a beacon of hope in some people's eyes and is a big inspiration for the theorist community and stuff like that. He has always been a great big ray of sunshine in this desperate place where we just have these weird things. And again, absolutely, MatPat leaving is a very tragic thing. Please shed a manly tear, pour one out for the boy. He has done a great job, but he deserves the biggest vacation in the world, and I hope that he gets it, and I hope that he finds happiness. But here's the thing. Saying that YouTube is better because these people are leaving, because, like, they are doing this stuff is stupid for several reasons. One of, if not the biggest reasons, is because, well, YouTube is a job to a lot of people, and while, yes, those two names of the Completionist and Game Theory are huge, they're most definitely not the biggest names in the gaming space, at least not to my knowledge. I would think of more Markiplier or Jacksepticeye before I think of MatPat, because MatPat is more of a theorist who, yes, is big in the gaming space, but also has like 3 other channels covering 3 other completely different topics. So, no.
Right? The gaming YouTube community is changing. And because these big controlled names, people with these sponsorship deals, people with these connections, people who like scam charities, right? These people are going away. And as a result of that,
take your time.
The community is going to be less and less controlled as we become more and more fractured and more people start giving their actual opinions as opposed to simply regurgitating something that like is SEO approved, like what Moist Critical does or whatever, right? And I think like the longer people like Moist Critical exist, people who know like the milquetoast commentary, like the non-controversial take on every topic, like when people realize that they're being played, that like Moist Critical is one of the biggest
Go ahead, Harman. Let the hamster run. You got this. Yeah, continue going.
I can't say anything nice about Moist Critical.
Right? Don't you just love it when just someone doesn't take the time to edit out their YouTube and pauses and stuff? It's really weird.
Right? Like I'm trying to find a politically correct name to call him, but all I can come up with is just like things that I probably shouldn't say on YouTube, right?
Skill issue.
Like Moist Critical is awful. Is what I'm getting at. His community is awful. Like Asmongold, that's a really good example where like everybody, like a couple of days ago, everyone was celebrating his attempts at like circumventing like the Japanese localization thing. He was going after Jamie Marchi and those people, like the same thing Nick Rekieta did. And what happens? The same thing that happened to Rekieta. That like Asmongold revealed that he was involved with a charity scam, and it's erupting into this controversy in regards to him and several other channels, right? Asmongold.
Okay, first of all, don't you dare begin to even think that you remotely understand the situation that you just fucking talked about. Because, number one, Asmongold is actually a good person, and as far as I can tell, he was very regretful that he actually worked with that charity case, and that the several other YouTubers that also did that were working with that charity case because they realized that that charity was skimming more off the top than they said that they were. Which sucks because those people, more often than not, were sponsored by the charity, which they didn't know about any of this stuff, and have since distanced themselves from it. If they were directly involved, that would be a completely different story, but Asmongold and those other people that were sponsored, again, sponsored by the charity, meaning that they were on the outside, extra people to get the faces and the names of the charity out there that they were working for. I don't even know the charity and stuff, but even I understand this, and I have a very basic understanding of that. And the translator thing is an entirely different can of worms that other people have covered way better than me, but to make a long story short, fan translations using AI systems are becoming, well, not becoming like a bigger and better thing, but it's more of just the writing of the translations for English dubs of anime have been a lot of the time politicized for no effing reason. And that's stupid for a number of reasons. The biggest one being that no one wants a lot of politics in their anime. That just doesn't seem right. And not only now has this specific thing have gone over people's heads, well, not over people's heads, but it's like caused so much panic that it's now starting to leak into the Japanese market, and there's like again, it's a whole other backstory for it. But if you can't even get the remote idea through your head that the situation of MatPat retiring versus the completionist going away as two separate scenarios with two completely and utterly different forms as to why they're leaving, and that the fact that you don't even understand that they're leaving, but their channels are still uploading content because there are other reasons and other factors for that. I do not even want to begin to get your opinion on something as this deep as a freaking translation that is so sucky in English, because this is the reason why sometimes, a lot of the times, I would prefer sub over dub, because at least I will be getting the information correct from the subtitles. Jesus Christ. I'm getting fucking angry over here and I have to be quiet because people are sleeping. No.
Was always scum. Even if he's going after someone like Jamie Marchi, right? Like going after people like that, going after like YouTube pedophiles, going after like, making fun of that chick who made the apology video with the ukulele, that does not make you a good person. It does not make you interesting. It does not make you fun to watch, right? You are the most boring man on YouTube, Voice Critical. Like, you're terrible, right? Your audience are sheep. They are cattle that you milk for views. You milk them, you take their udders, and they just spurt out dollar bills, right? For now. But it's not.
I think that's a bit of projection, a little bit. You think is that the princess doth protest too much.
Dollar bills, right? For now. But it's not going to last. The SEO is going to change. The structure of YouTube is going to change. Ad revenue is going to pay less and less. And suddenly, you're not going to be able to pay your bills, right? Suddenly, the entire thing is going to collapse, and you're going to be left with nothing, okay? That is the fate that awaits all YouTubers, right? People who refuse to get real jobs and just choose to live like this man-child lifestyle forever, right? It happened to the completionist.
No, it happened to the completionist because he committed an actual felony of a crime called charity fraud that completely ruined his reputation because of the fact that it's charity fraud, and that's a very serious crime because people take charity very seriously. Not only that, but again, that whole sentence just seems to be projection on your part, where you're failing YouTube channel, where all you do is just spurt out the most incoherent babbling nonsense in the entire time that you've been producing videos on your channel, never really once even editing. Well, I mean, you did edit that one time, but like, no. It's I want to quit so badly, but we're going to continue.
And it's gonna happen to you, right? It is glorious to see. So, the thing about this though, we are seeing a lot of these YouTubers leaving. We're seeing a lot of them quitting. And I do think a big reason for that is that, like, first of all, they're tired of it, right? It becomes a job after a certain point. You have to be involved with like every little thing when it comes to the production. You have to edit, you have to do voiceover work, you have to plan like a year's worth of videos, you have to like plan out your growth for the year, you have to like think about SEO and YouTube policies and stuff like that. You have to like just cater to your demographic, right? It is exhausting.
I will agree, though, that it is exhausting to take a lot of these videos and do the voiceover work and the actual gathering of content and videos and stuff. And yeah, absolutely, I will say that does get taxing, but I enjoy what I do. And that's why I make commentary, because it's easy to do, very nice to produce, and there's always content and stuff to talk about, because there's a lot of negative and people that are lolcows, much like Harman Smith on this channel. And yeah, I am one of those commentary YouTubers that commentates over gameplay. It's not a hard thing to do. I never considered YouTube my job or anything like that. I would like to make money off of it, but obviously speaking, I don't have enough clout or anything like that to really get to that. But I've been what I call failing up for years at this point, and so far it's been working. But one of, if not the biggest things that you're just like not seeming to get here is that you are also a YouTuber, and you also have a bunch of even worse failures than most of the YouTubers out here, because you also produce horrible fanfiction style books and stuff like that. You are not in this position to talk about sitting on your couch, talking into your MacBook, and telling these YouTubers who make like 3 to 4 times your like maybe even your like yearly income, that they're failures and that they're bad, when you are sitting on your fucking couch like that. The audacity of this man.
And but second of all, and I do think this is the most important thing, YouTube is not lucrative, right? The meme that like you could make $1 million by just vlogging about whatever, like, well, first of all, that was never true to begin with.
Casey Neistat would disagree, by the way.
But more and more people are starting to like learn the realities of what that means, right? The reality of what it means to make money on the internet. You know, people are going to come after you. They are going to talk about people that you associate with. They are going to like speculate on your personal life. They are going to come after you, right? They're going to try and like ruin your career. They're going to try and do everything they possibly can to ruin you. Right?
That comes free with any public-facing job. It comes free with politicians, comes free with doing this thing and that thing. Overall, it's just a thing you have to deal with whenever you put yourself out there. I know I've had my fair share of haters, and most people have commented if they've seen any of my other shorts and stuff that I post on this channel, 1 short a day, by the way, about my keyboard and how messy and dirty it is. And yeah, my keyboard is messy and dirty. I try to keep it clean, but I'm not going to spray this thing down with actual, like, cleaning spray. That'd be gross and like might ruin the keyboard. I mean, yeah, certainly might be able to do with a little bit of a washing up and get some soap on there, but that's still like water around electronics. But in any case, like I've dealt with people giving me misinformation about specific things, and people in my comment section being like, "You're an F slur" or something like that. It's one of those things you just kind of have to deal with. Same thing with how he has to deal with the fact that he's a kind of a lol cow in his context, and it's very bad. But we continue on. And again, feels like more projection than anything else in this context. Seems like he's getting a lot of that anger out.
Right. And for most people, it is it just isn't sustainable to live under that kind of scrutiny, right? Eventually, you end up like Darkside Phil and are just begging people for money on streams, right?
Like you were begging people to buy your books. Ayo, got another book reference in there. Let's go.
Like he makes like what, like $200,000 a year. And you could argue that like, well, if he stopped blowing so much money on WWE Legends, he he would be more popular. He would be probably be bringing in more money. He would probably be able to like salvage his career.
No, I don't think so. I think that the reason that he's just the way that he is because he has like that boomer style mentality that you are currently exhibiting in this context, where he just like continues to spout this stuff because that's what has gotten him this far, and he thinks that if he tries to change, it's the same deal. Same thing with like Rings of Redemption as well. But just so you know, he said like he makes $200,000 a year. That's pretty sustainable for just playing video games on the internet and putting in the effort that he does. I mean, again, he makes that amount of money because he's just like a lol count. People tend to talk about him, but I haven't heard a lot of Darkside Phil in a while. How the fuck does he make $200,000 a year?
But that simply isn't true, right? Like if it wasn't WWE Legends, it would be something else, right? People would find other things to make fun of Phil for. And I think it's only
We do, and it's funny, and like that's not the only reason why people say that he's like a lol cow. He just is a lol cow because of the things that he says. It's not just because of the WWE thing.
a matter of time until either Moist Critical and other YouTubers um they become as unpopular as Phil and they become locals, or worse, they become irrelevant and nobody cares about them. Nobody watches their content at all. Nobody cares, right? And so their entire like empire just collapses, right?
Jesus H tap dancing Christ, there's still like a minute left of this video. I don't want to continue it, but I continue it for you guys. So this is for you. Jesus Christ, this is painful.
So for me, like what I think is happening is that like the big YouTubers, the people who like understand how this works to a science, like, the actual intelligent people involved with this process, people like Matt Pat, people like that know that YouTube is on the way out, right? It isn't a viable income source going forward, right? Because you do have to give up your private information. You do have to give up like certain facets of normal everyday life. Like you don't become you're not an ordinary person when you're a YouTuber.
I mean, again, that comes free with any famous job. It's the same thing with, say, the actors that do portray things in, like, the actual communities and stuff. It comes with the territory of certain things. However, we're seeing more of a rise in actual VTubing culture. This comes more globally, but again, that's a whole different can of worms. But the main thing with the VTubing culture is that that sort of stuff doesn't really happen. At least in terms of that. I mean, yeah, there is such things as doxing, which you really shouldn't be doing. But you don't have to give up a lot of, like, information in that context when you become a VTuber, or, like, a faceless YouTuber like myself. There's a reason why I stopped showing my face. It's for my own personal safety, and because I just didn't feel like showing a lot of my faces. So, yeah.
Right? Like even when you become an e-celeb, you suddenly become like this target for a lot of people. And I think for the vast majority of the population, nobody would be able to handle it. Like I think it is a lifestyle that isn't
Go ahead, you can do it. I believe in you. Get that train over the hill.
that will not be appealing to a lot of people, right? Like it does take work to be successful on YouTube. And more as the ad revenue goes down, more and more there will be more and more reason to stay away from it. And I think that we are going to see an end of YouTube streaming culture very soon. I hope people stop giving them money. I hope people stop paying attention to them. I hope people stop caring about e-celebs because they are the absolute scum of the earth, right? Matt Pat is doing the right thing by backing out when he is, even though he has like, a decade's worth of just terrible videos at this point. But like he's doing the right thing backing off. And honestly, you should probably do the same thing.
Well, I just want to basically ram an entire freaking bulldozer through that man's house now. I don't know about you, but that's really all I have to say on that. Not only in the fact that he is not only wrong in the context of this, but one thing that MatPat has always been preaching is that the internet and the digital future will be spearheaded by people who are celebrities on the internet and who make their own jobs via YouTube. Like, that is a thing he has touted for years, from what I remember. Go Team Internet. And to me, it is just so like tone deaf to be talking about how bad YouTubers are and how bad e-celebs are when you are Harman Smith, specifically Harman Smith, and like other people talking about it, it's fine and I can hand wave that, but even just me complaining about this seems a little bit hypocritical. But here's again the biggest problem that I have with this, is that this is just so out of pocket and so just mind-bendingly wrong that I feel so fucking stupid for having sat through this whole thing for this time. I promised myself I would try to make shorter videos and wouldn't want to go over like the 30-minute mark, but this one needed an entire dedicated rant to it, because it's just like, you saw the video, like you were here with me to lose those brain cells. I want to go back to Harman's house and just like stab his eyes in with a spoon because he just made such incoherently wrong babbling points. Now again, to just basically gloss over the ending points here in the context of this, Matt Pat is stepping away to do other projects. He's still going to do YouTube stuff. He's still going to be involved in channels, and his channels are still going to be making content. And if you don't like his decades worth of stuff that has inspired people, that's your own prerogative. And I can't stop you from not liking Matt Pat. That's just your own opinion. You can have a wrong opinion, as I always tend to say. It's so tone deaf, in my personal opinion, this man, this Nintendo cuckboy, would sit on his fucking couch spouting off into his MacBook Air that he bought for like $1,500 to play Nintendo games on, is going to tell people who adore a good e-celebrity who's retiring and there's a big mournful service, that they should go and stop doing this shit. Fuck you to the entirety of the moon. I am now angry. Harman, you have now dug a fourth sub-basin in the barrel of anger and disappointment that I already had for you. I don't even want to give a cool intro or outro for this, but again, if you like what it is that I do and want to support me in other ways, links to everything in the description below. My album's coming out next week, singles coming out as well. I have more music and stuff in the pipeline. Stay tuned for that. I usually stream on weekends in terms of DJ streaming if you want to catch me on Twitch and stuff like that. I got nothing. My name is GamePenguin21, and a peace off.
Hey man!